welcome to another episode of the Greater Meaning Podcast. As always, I am your host, Andrew, alongside with my two co-hosts, Nathan and Josh.
Hello, I'm Nathan.
And today we're very excited to get started in the book of Numbers. In the last episode, we concluded with the story of Moses and the Israelites and how God introduced a set of laws, rituals, sacrifices, and celebrations that would allow the Israelites to experience God's presence being in the camp with them without them being consumed by the fires of his holiness.
Why are you laughing?
Because I'm remembering like Nadab and Abihu and how they were just like burnt up. And it's not going to be the last time. It's definitely not going to be the last time we hear about that.
Yes, that's so funny.
Now after spending 1 year at Mount Sinai,
are you nervous or something?
The people of God finally preparing to move on and journey into the promised land that God had promised to their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. However, they will encounter some challenges along the way, primarily their constant tendency to complain and to ramp, or to, what is the word they use? To rabble. The rabble. They're a bunch of rabble rousers. Josh, you good?
Rabble rousers. I am fantastic. I am doing fantastic.
I'm glad.
Oh, I keep tapping my foot. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's audible. What it was. I was wondering. I'm looking everywhere, checking the sound, seeing if everything's going good with the audio on your guys' end, and he's over there tap dancing.
I'm tapping my foot.
It's very loud. Maybe I'll get a carpet or something down here where he doesn't have to be heard.
I have to make noise, whether it's ice in the mouth or feet tapping the feet.
Have you always been tapping your feet? We just didn't know because we weren't here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I tap my feet every episode. A lot.
Oh, that sucks. But it's okay.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, we're starting the book of Numbers. We're finally getting started on the journey with the Israelites, moving through the wilderness on the way to the promised land. We left Egypt. We got to the mountain. They experienced some, I would say, very like ups and downs and some instruction. And then now we got to finally move on and get to the whole point. You know, God promised them that he'd bring them into a land flowing with milk and honey. And they get that opportunity now. And everything works out. They get there. God fulfills his promises. And there are no problems. There are absolutely no problems. The end.
Where would you say they are on this map?
Oh yeah, you can point to the map. Point to the map.
Point to a map now.
They're somewhere in this vicinity right here.
Can you zoom in? I
for you guys listening audibly.
Yeah, let's point out.
He pointed to an area on the map.
Let's point Africa. Out more.
In Africa.
Well, technically, it's the. Well, yeah,
it's the Middle East. It's in Africa.
You know, some people believe it's actually in North America. Some people believe that
what's in North America?
That this whole thing kicked off.
Seriously, that the Bible,
everything's actually.
Are you talking about the Mormons? That's the whole Mormon thing.
Well, also the Mormons, but it's
also.
I guess it's a Christian conspiracy,
but mostly
theory.
Only them.
It's a Christian conspiracy.
Yeah, like
theory.
they had like the Garden of Eden was in Missouri, and Jesus came here, and there was like the gold tablets, and then.
Well, you know the river that split into five.
Like the Euphrates, the Pishon, the.
Yeah, the Mississippi River actually splits into that, but the river the Nile, if that's what it is, the Nile doesn't split into as many sections as the Bible is saying it split.
Nice.
But I could also be extremely wrong. I don't have like a map in front of me. I'm just going by what some crazy people said.
You're going by what somebody said.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm not. That's why I said. Some people say.
Some people say.
Some people.
Well, we're very much so not in North America. We are still in the wilderness of Sinai, and they're moving from the wilderness of Sinai into the wilderness of Paran. Did you like how big and highlighted I had that so I can know where I'm going?
Let me ask you something, guys. What does the Book of Numbers mean to you?
I think of the Sesame Street character Count Dracula.
Okay. And Josh?
The book of Numbers means it's a number of catastrophes that end up for the glory of God.
Wait.
All right.
Nice.
So what it actually is the book of Numbers is the continuation of the Pentateuch. You have Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, which we finished, and then you'll have the book of Numbers and Deuteronomy, most popularly believed to be authored by Moses, and we're going to continue with that belief. In the book, it's called Numbers because of the census that is taken of the collection of the congregation of the people of Israel at Mount Sinai. The first 10 chapters actually kind of goes more into the Leviticus style of giving us instructions, giving us doing the actual first count, the first census of the people that start, and then spoiler alert, the end of Numbers gives us another census of the next generation that actually enters into the promised land. Because unlike I joked earlier, it's not pretty seamless. It's pretty much a book of disastrous behavior and God's overwhelming grace and love to even put up with the Israelites in the first place.
If you're a fan of counting things, this is the book for you.
So a lot of counting, but we're not going to do a lot of counting. We're going to kind of condense the first 10 chapters into kind of like an overview. And for the story's sake, since this is more of a Bible story podcast with
we did the counting for you.
Some deep dives. I didn't do as much.
We were accounting.
We were accounting to count for you.
Any more counting jokes, Nathan? I'm sure you have.
1, 2, 3.
All right, so the first chapter of Numbers includes the first sentence. In the first 4 verses, God commands Moses to take a census of Israel's fighting men. Specifically, it was a count of men 20 years or older from every tribe except for the tribe of the Levites.
Why not the tribe of the Levites?
Because the tribe of the Levites had the explicit duty of taking care of, serving, and being priests in the tabernacle before the Lord.
Even though they were known for extreme violence.
Yeah, Andrew, even though.
When were they known for extreme violence?
Never.
I mean, just recently, God says, oh, hey, take the tribe of Levi and just kill, 30,000 or 3,000 people of Israel that needs to die?
That was whoever's at the golden calf. That's what it was. I didn't have the number. I realized in my notes I didn't have the number. In the book of Numbers, out of all the notes I did, I forgot to put the exact number of how many men were counted. So,
how many?
There was my one.
So your notes of Numbers didn't have any numbers.
Didn't have the actual numbers. I forgot to write.
Nice.
The total number of fighting.
Let me take a guess. 603,550.
Yeah, that was 20 years or older. That was kind of the bar, and that was separated by each tribe. Chapter 2. Each tribe is assigned a specific position outside. So you would have the tabernacle in the center, and there would be different placements for every tribe. The Levites would be around it, split up into specific sections, and then every tribe would encircle in different positions. And if you actually, some people, when they count it and they number it based on the populations, like tribe of Judah, they had the layout. They like to put it out like as if it was a cross. And it looks pretty. I was showing this to Nathan earlier. You can't really see it, but you had the tribe of Ephraim, Dan, Asher, Naphtali, Reuben, and the way it works is that on the.
You could show the camera. What are you talking about? You can't show it.
Oh yeah, you're right.
What is wrong with you? You could actually put it on that big tablet and show the camera.
I could have. Yeah, I'm getting used to the new setup here. I realize it's a lot more.
We are in a setup that's new. We are no longer in my place. We are now in Andrew's place.
Needless to say, they were in marching order around the camp. They were surrounded.
Come on, show them the cross. You show them with your tablet, but
you can't see because of the glare. That's the thing. That's why I knew what was going to happen. You wanted me to show the camera. It's just going to show white. I don't have it on here.
Show white.
Yeah,
it looks like a cross. I encourage you guys to Google the arrangement of the encampment of the Israelites in the book of Numbers.
Yeah, the arrangement of all the people were
summary
in the form of a cross.
It's funny how God ordered that it would be arranged in a specific way as they go forward, and specifically to the south where they had the longer part of 186,000 men. And then on the top part, they had like 100,000 men. And on both sides, on each side, it was like 151,000 and like 150,000. So it was like two equal lines, a shorter line on top and a longer line on bottom of arranged men. If you look at it on the graph, how it would have been numbered, even with like the women, it would look to be almost, when the army is marching, it looks like a cross when it's arranged around the tabernacle. But some people also arranged it more practically without having a cross in mind, and it doesn't look like a cross. So, I mean, it's just a cool little thought I had there. I mean, we're going to move on past chapter 2, because chapter 2 mainly focused. Oh, wow.
You see it?
That's a pretty cool thing you did there.
So we have the tribe of Levi right in the center.
Yeah, that would be surrounding the tabernacle there in the center.
Yeah.
Then how long have we been able to do stuff like this?
This whole time.
The whole time.
Sorry. I'm lacking.
Really cool.
And it's cool because it gives the number. So you have the camp of Dan would had 157,600.
This is 29 episodes in.
To the east, we had the camp of Judah, which had 186,400 people.
Well, it wasn't just the camp of Judah. There was a couple. They were like, but Judah would be on the outskirts. So the tribe names are the ones that are like on the outside.
Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. And then in the camp of Dan, which was the eagle. Oh, look at that. The eagle. We bring in the eagle back.
There's a man, the ox, the eagle, and yeah.
That is interesting how it's split up that way with the animals. Mm-hmm. Because isn't David from the tribe of Judah?
Yeah, and famously the lion with the scepter that will never leave. I mean, Jesus comes from the line of Judah. That's what, remember in chapter 49 of Genesis when Jacob was blessing his sons, Judah was blessed with the scepter that shall never leave his house. Yeah. He's called a young lion.
Do you still need this?
I know this part's not very story-like, but anyway.
Yeah, there's not. I mean,
I'm gonna try to go through it, and again,
organized in the cross.
We might do something later. I was thinking about doing stuff where we do like more of a breakdown of like tabernacle, the priest rules. Maybe do like a side video or something like that. But maybe for now, just to get the story through or get through to the story, chapter 3 of Numbers covers the Levites' role and kind of gives the first couple chapters or verses give the genealogy of Aaron and then the Levites are designated for the tabernacle service. And then they're kind of just, it goes over the rules and the things and the duties that they have to do, and then separates them into the specific like houses within the tribe of Judah, like the Kohites, the Gershonites, and the Merarites. You're supposed to.
Oh yeah, it's easier than it looks. Huh?
like Nathan,
I'm always getting criticized for mispronouncing.
Well, they break down in chapter 4. This is going to be a mobile tabernacle. They're going to be moving from place to place, and
not T-Mobile.
And
I'm sorry, I'll stop with the puns.
No, you're good.
No, that is actually really good. It's T-Mobile Tabernacle. Mobile.
That does actually fit. I'm going to agree with Josh on that one.
I mean, I'm a genius, guys. There's like 3 levels to every joke I say on here, but nobody pays attention.
Oh, you're right.
Because they have to get through the first level.
Yeah.
All right. I'm really I feel like I'm butchering this. But,
yes, you are.
All right. Let's move on. There's specific duties they're going to be given. Like the Kohites are going to carry, the Kohathites are going to carry the most sacred objects. The Gershonites are going to transport like the curtains and the covering. The Merarites are going to carry the structural elements, and then the Levites are numbered according to their service specifically. So if you really read it, it's really beautiful how like there's going to be different parts of their tribe are responsible for even like covering the objects. And then there are different parts of the tribe that can't even go inside to see the objects. You can only enter the tabernacle once it's covered with like a blue or a purple like linen cloth that they kind of like weave together to specifically transport these items. And it's interesting to see how intricately specific God is about even like the screws and like the rings that hold up the curtain and stuff like that. Like there's a whole guy that's like a hardware guy that holds the screws for all like the nails and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Everything's in depth.
Chapter 5 covers the laws of purity one more time and restoration. They're called and commanded to remove everything that's impure from outside the camp, and then re-given the confessions for sin and restitution. Chapter 6 is kind of important. I don't want to kind of gloss too much over chapter 6 because
the law of the Nazarites.
Well, Nazarites are important. The vow, if you want to actually.
Isn't Samson a Nazarite?
Samson's a Nazarite.
That's a famous Nazarite. Samson.
Yeah, there's
Samson.
Yeah, there's a rules for the Nazarite.
Samson is the guy with the long hair that was super strong. Everybody.
If you want to read the first couple verses in chapter 6, actually, you haven't read yet. Read a little bit because Jesus also kind of follows the rules of the Nazarite. Actually, no, he doesn't. Does he?
No.
He eats Jesus of Nazareth, but he doesn't.
He touches dead people.
He definitely does not. You're right. I'm sorry. I was very wrong.
All right.
Samson.
Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when either a man or a woman consecrates an offering to take the vow of a Nazarite to separate himself to the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and similar drink. He shall drink neither vinegar made from wine nor vinegar made from similar drink. Neither shall he drink any grape juice, nor eat fresh grapes or raisins. All the days of his separation he shall eat nothing that is produced by the grapevine from seed to skin. All the days of the vow of his separation no razor shall come upon his head, until the days are fulfilled for which he separated himself to the Lord. He shall be holy. Then he shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow."
Well, you're not a Nazarite. You're fine.
All the days that he separates himself to the Lord, he shall not go near a dead body. He shall not make himself unclean, even for his father or his mother, for his brother or his sister, when they die, because his separation to God is on his head. All the days of his separation, he shall be holy to the Lord.
Man, what type of rules?
And if anybody dies very suddenly beside him and he defiles his consecrated head, he shall shave his head to the day of his cleansing. There's more instructions there.
Yeah. What were you saying, Josh?
Those are some serious rules.
Yeah,
it's really just 3 rules.
It's like
don't cut your hair,
nothing,
don't drink, and
grapes.
Don't touch dead people.
No. Not just don't drink.
All of
wine,
which Samson breaks at one
grape
point.
Juice, which is like, isn't there a whole controversy now on like? I mean, that's like a whole debate that they were not drinking wine, they were drinking grape juice, but they were calling it wine. It just had no. But it's clearly even
that's only a debate with Romanian people
or like super conservative church members. Like they never drank. It was just like this diluted rain, like water. It was more like water. It was just a clean version of water with grape juice.
Let's realistically, they drink wine, and
I mean, it was just something of the times.
And then the no dead bodies. That's a rough one. It's like if you have a loved one that dies and you can't go visit them.
You can't, if you murder somebody, you can't touch them after you stab them.
But is it okay as you stab them?
No, it's not.
Yeah, what if somebody like fell dead next to them? Like just
they're not allowed to touch them. It actually literally talks about that.
You walk around
if anyone dies very suddenly beside him. Like it literally has an instruction about that. They stopped me from reading it.
They got it covered.
Like if somebody has a heart attack beside you, you're defiled. You have to like shave your head.
Oh goodness gracious! All right,
so if your head was shaved, that's how you knew you broke the law.
Yeah.
Nathan officially lost all his strength. He's not a Nazarite at all.
My hair fell off naturally.
It's just that clean.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome.
Falls off perfect.
Chapter 6 also has one of the most beautiful blessings that the priestly blessing would read over the people. And in our community, the Romanian community in different churches, at the dedication of a child, a service where blessing is read, this passage is famously read whenever you kind of present the baby and ask for the Lord to bless it in the church service. Chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Nathan, if you could read this blessing of the priests, the priestly
what they
blessing.
say in Romanian churches to babies?
Whenever you give.
I know.
Whenever they bring it before
I'll
they pray,
read it. I got you. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the way you shall bless the children of Israel. Say to them." It was 3 times it said, say, saying.
Maybe you should say it then.
"The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. So they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I will bless them."
Lord bless you And keep. It's a song. It's a very famous song too. So.
Romanians?
No. This is like it's a worship song.
Oh. I know it.
Never heard that song?
No.
Josh knows it. Josh has sung it before.
Yeah.
Josh is in worship.
I worship.
Lord bless you.
I
don't know this song.
Sorry, not a very good singer. Anyway, so chapter 7, the offerings for the tabernacle. The leaders of each tribe bring offerings. There's a detailed record of the offerings from each tribe that is brought. And then a summary is given. It's actually like an 89 verse chapter. Nathan, if you could start with the first. No, I'm just kidding.
I love verse 48. I love that name. On the 7th day, Elah Shama.
A lot of names, a lot of numbered of things.
If you want to find some baby names for your babies, this is the place to do it.
There's a lot of people are named in this book as well.
Amihud. Ephraim.
That's pretty famous. Numbers chapter 8 talks about
John.
The consecration of the Levites.
there was no John. Gamaliel. Gamaliel, that's from Lord of the Rings.
Gamaliel,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pedazer.
It's Gadriel.
Isn't it Gadriel? Yeah, it's Gadriel.
In Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. Josh is right. That sounds better.
Not Gamaliel?
No, it's close. Nope. Anyway, consecration of the Levites in chapter 8, the 26 verses covers the arrangement of the tabernacle lamps. And then the Levites go under purification and consecration. And then the age limit for the Levite service is given. It's between age 25 and 50 you'll serve. After 50, you effectively retire as a Levite.
Ammishaddai.
Important. Chapter 9, the Passover ordinances and the cloud of guidance, instructions for keeping the Passover, including a provision for those unable to celebrate on the appointed day. And then the cloud of the tabernacle will guide the Israelites' journey. We've talked about this before, how the presence in the cloud will be above the tabernacle. And when it lifts up to go and the presence leave, then they know they actually construct these trumpets. Chapter 10 covers these silver trumpets that are made to be blown. And when they're blown, and the number of times they're blown kind of signifies what they should do. Nathan, if you would read the first, just so we can cover, so we don't get too confused about the trumpets. And this is the last chapter before they officially pick up and departure. There's just a lot of all right, everybody. It was like, whenever my brother Daniel joined the military, and you get on the bus and you travel.
That's
pretty cool. Sorry. And you get there, and then you think that you go straight into boot camp, but the first, 36 hours or 48 hours is just standing in line and getting registered and getting your hair cut and all this preparation before you actually pick up and go. And that's what the first 10 chapters of Numbers is essentially. It's a lot of
they're getting ready to go.
They're getting ready to fight.
Preparation.
They're getting ready to go. And the silver
not just
trumpets,
go, but go in military style, ready to fight.
Yeah, go with an order of go with a purpose, and they're not just a big crowd of people moving as a mass. They're organized.
Those silver trumpets were Bach Stradivarius trumpets.
Is that a good brand?
Those are and you guys don't know anything about music.
I don't. Okay. I don't know the brands of trumpets.
That's the good brand of the trumpets, right?
What is it?
Bach Stradivarius trumpet.
As in
that's those silver ones.
So read the first 10 verses. Let's see if that's what they made.
No, it's not. But I'm just, whatever.
That's what it looked like. I mean, at night it would be a fire, but that looks pretty cool.
That looks like a stadium, dude. What are we looking at?
That's what the tabernacle surrounded by the camps would have looked like.
Oh, okay. With the pillar of fire. You think it was that skinny of a pillar of fire?
I mean, I don't think it was bigger than the tabernacle itself, and the tabernacle was only so big.
I imagine a fire being like a tornado.
That's how it was in the beginning, I believe.
But it was it's coming down to a point.
There it is.
Yeah, Bach Stradivarius trumpets.
The trumpets. All right.
What do you want me to read this for?
Just read the first 10 verses.
That's a lot. That's a lot of reading.
Okay. Well, it's instruments used to signal for movement and for battle. You would get a specific amount of blows for whenever you're going to pick up and move. Everybody knows time to pack up and move. And then before battle, you'll hear the trumpets. Very famously in the book of Joshua.
It's a paragraph, a huge paragraph you want to read.
Yeah. When we get to Jericho, you'll. Okay. I'm sorry. You're right. I just want to get into the actual story part, because this right here is just the preparation, and we've done the whole book of Leviticus, which was just preparation, and I'm ready to go on. So the Israelites leave Mount Sinai for the first time after about a year. They're finally ready to go. Moses actually invites his father-in-law Hobab to go with them.
You could take those trumpets down, Josh.
Which is Jethro, but
just have to leave them up there.
Wow.
The Ark of the Covenant. Nathan, do read the 33 through 36 of chapter 10.
Let's see.
How long have we been going?
So they departed from the mountain of the Lord on a journey of 3 days. And the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord went before them for the 3 days' journey, to search out a resting place for them. And the cloud of the Lord was above them by day when they went out from the camp. As it was, whenever the ark set out, that Moses said, Rise up, O Lord, let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee before you. And when it rested, he said, Return, O Lord, to the many thousands of Israel.
So, important note, the Ark of the Covenant is what's going to lead the journey. Essentially, again, the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Testimonies is going to be what represents the presence of God going before them, being led. They're not just going on their own. They're not just walking around where they don't know. They're going to be led and guided by the presence and the instruction of God, specifically them there with them journey. So I think it's a really beautiful notion there. So the people, they leave from Sinai to the wilderness of Paran. And now in chapter, they just start, it's 3 days. They've gone 3 days. And in Numbers chapter 11, they already start to have some hiccups. Nathan, if you could read Numbers chapter 11, verses 1 through 3. The journey has begun. They're on the way to the promised land. It's been 3 days. And this is what happens.
Numbers chapter 11, verse 1. Now when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, for the Lord heard it, and his anger was aroused. So the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. Then the people cried out to Moses, and when Moses prayed to the Lord, the fire was quenched. So he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord had burned among them.
Now you see why I kind of giggled earlier when I was reading the intro, because I was like, so that they don't get burnt up. But they go 3 days and they're already complaining. They're complaining about just
how many died on the outskirts. It's
enough. Enough died.
That's
enough
terrifying.
That it was mentioned.
That is terrifying to just out of nowhere, boom. This pillar, this cloud of fire that you've been following willingly has now turned and is burning you alive.
You think the complainers were on the outskirts anyway?
I like to believe so, but I don't think Moses
they still complain. So not all of them. They still complained after it. So it's
there's a lot more complaining. So the source of the complaints are definitely not over. Yeah, there's.
Listen, I mean, it's human nature to complain when things are definitely usually people start to complain when they see a living God following them with a pillar of fire. I mean, you kind of feel like you're being ignored.
And they've already seen that he's very he will burn the unrighteous on the spot and consume them.
We've seen it happen before with Nahab and Abihu.
The bodies would have still been there. That's the thing. Their bodies would have been laid out in front of everybody to kind of see as a tangible reminder of their disobedience and their complaining and their grumbling. And Moses' intercession is the only thing that kind of quenched the fire. You're going to kind of see that again. Moses, that constant intercessor and that constant leader, putting himself between the people and God, and his wrath and judgment and their
this doesn't seem like God. I'm not saying that he did it, but it doesn't seem like God was intentionally trying to go and burn them. It was just it almost seems like his anger, he got really physically, literally fired up by all the complaining, and it was so hot that it consumed everybody on the outside. And that's also a lesson for all the people on the outskirts, quote unquote, that, hey, for all of you hanging out on the side, thinking that you can stay away from the center, hanging out in the in the lounge at church, drinking your coffee or whatever, talking.
Are you turning this
those
into
guys?
Stop hanging out outside of church.
No, I'm just saying, like
inside.
the people that are comfortable on the outside, thinking that they're safe from all of it, and that nobody can see what they're doing. God's obviously like, they got burned.
Thing, though, no matter how you feel, somebody has to be on the outskirts. If there's a giant like circle, doesn't mean you're not at. God arranged them. I feel like it was just like it was going to work its way in.
To die?
They were surrounded by fire, and God's like, all right, it's going to go inside.
So,
and, I don't know.
So the people that died, there's new people that have to replace the people on the outskirts now.
Well, no, they just move on, and they just they name the place. We got burned here, and they keep going,
guys. Woo!
And they learn their lesson, and they continue, and they trust.
See that cloud of fire? We're following it. Let's go.
Just kidding. They don't do that. Nathan, if you could read the next from 4 to 9, we'll see what happens after they witness what happens when they complain.
Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. All right, let me read that again. Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. So the children of Israel also wept again and said, "Who will give us meat to eat? We remember the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our whole being is dried up. There's nothing at all except this manna before our eyes." Now the manna was like coriander seed, and its color like the color of bdellium.
What is that?
Well, there's a B in front of the D, so I don't know how to pronounce that. Bdellium, whatever.
Coriander.
The people went about and gathered it, ground it into millstone, or beat it to the mortar, cooked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And its taste was like the taste of pastry prepared with oil. And when the dew fell on the camp in the night, the manna fell on it.
What is that?
Manna?
This is a coriander seed. So this is kind of what the manna, I guess, looked like. It was
manna. It was a lot more pale. It's like,
dude,
it looked like.
I don't know what to tell you. It says in the Bible the manna was like coriander seed, and I'm looking at a picture of coriander seed.
I guess, yeah. But if you grind it up, it's lighter, and it was very versatile. If you remember back in Exodus, they were able to. They could boil it. They could grind it down and make like pastries. They could fry it. They could bake it.
So they grind this down. Raw.
And it had a taste of pastry and like honey. Like it was a sweet and kind of like almost sweet bread if they were to bake it. It was there miraculously every day to feed hundreds of thousands. And the interesting details in this portion of the complaints is that it was the mixed multitude, meaning that it was a lot of the Egyptians could have been there, people that were brought in with the Israelites that weren't necessarily part of the full group. And they also, what people don't think about here is that they would have had cattle and oxen. Like they did sacrifices of like cattle and oxen. Yeah, that's kind of what I imagine.
Might be a little bit better. Looks like
that's what I imagine when I see. Yeah, that's what I imagine when I see manna. Or when I think of manna, it's like
just snow.
A white, like very, like that. And you pick it up and you can kind of carry it. And
just don't eat the yellow manna.
I guess
it's not good.
Because it's not manna. But yeah, these people, they had oxen, they had meat around them, but what they were kind of asking for and craving were things outside of the source of food that they had, or for what was for sacrifice. It was a very greedy approach of what I'm trying to say. Like they were like they had craving. A craving is something where it's like, oh, I really wish I had that specific thing that I don't have. I'm not grateful for what I do have. I'm not grateful for this miracle every day, but I want something like, look how good it was. And you'll notice this as kind of like a theme again on top of the complaining, is that they tend to keep looking back. They're still attached in their spirit to the chains and the shackles of the slavery that they were in. They're so ungrateful that they're like reminiscing about how awesome it was whenever they could just fish and grow garlic. I don't know. It's just
they're reminiscing about how awesome it was during slavery.
It's easier to be stuck in a position in your life where you know how every day is going to turn out, even though you know it sucks. You know what I mean? Right now, they have no idea. Well, first off, there's a cloud of fire that keeps burning people.
Like, God's presence is there constant. Like, they see so many miracles.
I get it.
But they don't have meat.
Yo, if you were a part of that crowd and there's this cloud of fire and it keeps burning people, I would kind of be like, yo, those chains look pretty good right now.
You think so? So you're sympathizing with the Israelites here?
I mean, slightly looking at it from there, like, it's terrifying. You never know what's going to happen. There's this bread, there's this food falling from the heavens feeding you. It's amazing. It's a miracle, but it's also extremely hard. And some people, they just don't want to do it. It's simple as that. They would rather not go through the hardship and stay in the suffering just so it's comfortable. Because sometimes the suffering.
Yeah, people will trade like comfort and, they'll trade a positive, like a growth or something that's better for them for just being comfortable. Like, because oftentimes change and growth comes with being uncomfortable, having to grow, having to get stronger, having to be outside of that quote unquote comfort zone for you to achieve like a betterment of yourself. And they're so attached to this idea of comfort and not having to do anything. It's just a really clear indicator of their just all the shortfalls in their character.
Both of you just are missing the big picture. This just goes to show you that being a vegetarian sucks. You really want meat.
I did the Daniel fast like once.
And you didn't like it.
The Daniel fast is either between 21 and some people do it for 40 days of absolutely no animal products.
Here's the other thing. Daniel did it for a short period of time. He was just trying to prove a point.
Well, he did it. No, it's like while he was there in that court, it's like that's what they would eat. And he's like, I'm not doing that ever. And they're like, you're going to get sick. And he's like, let me do a test with you. If I get sick within this amount of time, we're good. But it doesn't mean like afterwards he just ate the meat. He continued to live that way. He would never eat the defiled food or the unclean or whatever was offered to
outliers exist, okay? But still, for the most part, being a vegetarian sucks.
There's some similarities, and I had a chart made up here of like the differences between and the similarity between Exodus and Numbers, the journey of these same people. Like, for example, in Exodus 14, the people grumble, and then they also grumble here in chapter 11 of Numbers. In chapter 16, manna is provided of Exodus, and then manna is provided here in chapter 11, verses 7 through 9. And then quail is provided in Exodus chapter 16 as well. We see that God is going to give quail. But Moses' response here is kind of like, he begins to lament the weight of like having to lead all these people. He
complains to God, like, why did you put me in this situation?
Yeah, he kind of
like carry these babies. Hard. What is this? Like, my responsibilities are these babies all around me all the time.
Like, he gets upset and begins to he bombards God with these rhetorical questions. Like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do this? Did you bring me out here to just be, destroyed in this way? And he's like, this complaint and this negativity is beginning to rub off on him. And it's unfortunate because, like, imagine being Moses and constantly having this nagging and this hearing of they said that they could hear them complaining outside their tents, and he could listen to them whining and crying all night, and gets to the point where Moses even begins to doubt. He's like, in verse 13, when he goes before God, he's like, there's like 600,000 of them. And specifically, he says, where am I going to get the meat?
Yeah.
To feed these people. So you could already see Moses is kind of venting here, but he's off with the way he's he's not like, God, what are you going to do here? Support your people. He's like, what am I supposed to do with these they don't shut up. I can't do this anymore.
You're right. God basically put Moses as a foreman and just said, go at it, Moses. And now Moses is looking at God's like, he needs help. He's basically asking God for a little help. Not miracles, but let me not do this alone, in other words.
Yeah, but luckily God, what he does is he gets super dramatic. At one point, Moses is like, "Kill me here and now." It's like, if this is my life from now on, can you just have, if I found mercy before you, just end my, like the most
so I'm not wretched.
He's also old. Like he's already, like he's supposed to, in his mind.
Oh, he's got another 40 years.
Yeah, he literally says, if you treat me like this, please kill me here and now. If I have not found favor in your sight, and do not let me see my wretchedness.
He's about the most dramatic, like just complaining. Like, so now you have the Israelites complaining, you have Moses complaining, and God's just sitting there like, I have to fulfill my promise and my covenant. But what he does is, like Jethro in Exodus, and again, a lot of parallels between Exodus and Numbers, but Jethro, when Moses was overwhelmed in a diplomatic sense, he advises him into splitting up and delegating some of the load of leadership.
Delegate.
What God does here for Moses is that he does the same thing, but on a spiritual sense. God commands Moses to gather to him 70 appointed elders so that they could pretty much share Moses' spiritual burden, essentially, and to gather them before the tabernacle. And Nathan, actually, I'm going to have you read, but I'm not going to have you read 15 verses.
Yeah, because you getting kind of heavy there, buddy.
Sorry.
You kind of just described some of this stuff.
Yeah.
What do you want me to read?
Well, the narrative here kind of combines. That's why it was kind of tough, because God says, gather for yourself 70 elders that I will put my spirit upon, and I will give you quail. Like, he answers the whole question about meat. And I will give you so much quail that it's going to come out of your nostrils. Like, that's what God's like. It's going to be coming out of your nose. You're going to get meat. Oh, if you want meat, I got you.
You're going to get it.
He has the meats.
You've done the meat joke a couple times already. It's like one of your go-tos.
Did I?
Yeah, he cracks me up.
I don't even remember ever doing that.
Yeah.
He has the
If you
meats.
shall eat not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, or 20 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils, and becomes loathsome for you, because you have despised the Lord who is among you, then saying, why did we ever come up out of Egypt? So, and that's kind of when Moses was like, God, there are 600,000 men. Where am I to get the, you know what I mean? Like, there's just this kind of back and forth here. But
at the end of the day, quail is what's for dinner.
Are they
and
so
breakfast
did
and
God
lunch.
Is this kind of like I guess like he curses them in a certain way where they can't stop eating? Like they continuously just shoving it in their mouths?
We're going to see what happens, actually. I'll show you, because it's very specific what happens exactly about that. But before that, God calls Nathan, read from 24 to 26.
So Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and he gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people and placed them around the tabernacle. Then the Lord came down in the cloud and spoke to him, and took of the spirit that was upon him, and placed the same upon the 70 elders. And it happened, when the spirit rested upon them, that they prophesied, although they never did so again.
Yeah.
But 2 men had remained in the camp. The name of one was Eldad. And the name of the other was Medad. Oh, I'm just saying Eldad because of that movie with The Rock and what's his name? Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, it is Eldad.
Calls himself, call me Eldad. I have a lot of movie references, folks. And the Spirit rested upon them. Now they were among those listed, but who had not gone out to the tabernacle, yet they prophesied in the camp. And a young man ran and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. So Joshua, son of Nun being a name, not the son of no one, Moses' assistant, one of his choice men, answered and said, Moses, my lord, forbid them. Then Moses said to him, are you zealous for my sake? Oh, that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord will put his spirit upon them.
I wouldn't expect you can
and
stop.
Moses returned to the camp, he and the elders of Israel.
That's way more than I told you to read, but yeah, I mean that's.
Well, you want me to read and like cut off the?
Yeah, we would have continued, but it's fine. It's fine. Do
so
what you
does the first is the first part like
I really
a
was
generalization,
feeling
and then it
myself
goes deeper into the story because so is it 70 guys and then they stop and then these two?
No,
No,
so
what
that's a
happened
good-
was 2 of the 70 never went back
exactly.
to the tabernacle. They just were like, "Oh, I'm still prophesizing. Let me go to the
No,
camp."
so that's not
Okay,
that's not what happened. So
And the other question is what
I'm
what's
doing it no
going
matter
on?
what.
They're all of a sudden all like they're literally prophesying. Like what does that mean? Like
All right, so we're going to talk about that. But
prophesying.
first, yeah, you're right.
all of them are just foreshadowing the future. Like this is
Six-
what's gonna happen to you. Like don't talk about Bruno style.
68 what 60 I guess that makes sense. 68 of them gathered, and first it's not named why or not spoken of and told why these 2, but these were of the 70 that were chosen, so they were supposed to be there with the group over there at the tabernacle.
This must
but
have been
they
a
for
big
some reason
deal.
were held up. But even though they were held up, it's not like 2 random guys also started prophesying. They were amongst the ones that were. That's not kind of like if you think about this. I've heard the story, and that's if you don't pay attention, that's kind of how you think about it. Like the Spirit of the Lord was just flowing, and whoever was receiving it, and 2 guys were like, "I can prophesy too," and they were the chosen
I
ones.
can prophesy to you.
And then there's the whole like Joshua being zealous for Moses, like, no, my guy is the only one that can do. You know, like, he just like Moses, is like, man, I wish all of you could. This is a lot. I wish if you guys could understand how I understand, it'd be way easier for like the rest of the story. Like it would just be.
But then what were they prophesying about?
So that's a good question.
Let's get to that.
We don't
What does it
know.
mean that they prophesied, and what does it mean that they never did so again? The never did so again, from what I did research, kind of denotes or explains what would have been prophesying. Like the Spirit of the Lord came upon them, and some, from what I read, would have been like they would have like, I don't know how to like say to prove that they quote unquote prophesied. I don't think it was all of them like, and then tomorrow Jennifer will make 15 steps and trip, and then the next guy, I don't think they were like telling the future, quote unquote. I think it was more of like a prophesy or like a declaration of a praises to God underneath the influence of the Spirit, which was obvious and felt by the presence of those there. And it was something that was recognizable and undeniable in that moment. And it was kind of done as a way to confirm their vocation or their vocation of being selected to be spiritual leaders in the camp. That's why it was done as a special instance. It's not like they took over the position that Moses would have as the prophet for the people, but God allowed it for this time to kind of show the anointing that they had to kind of consecrate them in that moment as spiritual leaders, as elders for the people. So I think it was like they were speaking, like they kind of like spoke out and declared like praises and specific praises to the Lord in that moment. But it could be, some people believe that it was also like prophecies that they were how Moses would prophesy, like the Lord is going to do this and then he's going to do this, because that's what Moses does, is like he will bring you out of Egypt and then he will do this and his hand will move aside all these people and that people, and that's technically prophesying. When you're declaring what the Lord's going to do or the intention, that's like a prophecy. So yeah.
Okay. What do you think they were wearing?
Well, I'm looking a little bit even into their the names of Eldad. For some reason, I looked up.
Well, that's just because they were named because they weren't there.
Well, some people go into. According to biblical scholars, the real purpose of the story is to indicate that prophecy was not restricted to a select few. However, the text states that Eldad and Medad were of them that were written down, making them less representative of the general population. Although some scholars believe that this is a gloss and added to the original Elohist account by later editor who objected to the idea that anyone could become a prophet. So that's something, it was basically like they were upset that these random guys were prophesying because you had to be chosen. And then all of a sudden these guys are prophesying. It's like, whoa, like you can't just start prophesying. You have to be a certain type of person. Wait,
but they were chosen.
The names themselves are hence unimportant to the point of the story and may have been chosen may have been chosen simply for the sake of assonance and seem to refer to dad, suggesting polytheism or a non-Israelite origin. If the names are Hebrew, then dad could mean paternal uncle, with Eldad thus meaning God is the brother of my father, or El is the brother of my father, and Medad meaning one who is of my father's brother.
That's not what that Mark Wahlberg The Rock movie said. Eldad means meaning of Eldad is God has loved.
Listen,
the one God loves, the one chosen by God.
If the names are Assyrian, then dad could be a corruption of dadu, meaning beloved, and Eldad meaning God is beloved, or El is beloved, and Medad meaning object of affection. I
think that doesn't make any sense.
What are you talking, dude? They literally, like, I'm looking at so many different things. They both mean God has loved.
I get it, but in other words, their names, the names that were chosen for these two that were prophesying weren't technically their actual names, but the names that
they're just names that were put later after they prophesied.
Names that were put in, names that were put in to them later, describing kind of maybe who they were or who they were prophesying about. But this is just an idea. This doesn't mean
that happens anything. A lot though with these stories in the Old Testament. Like there's a lot of like breakdown and over like digging too deep into something which didn't really have as much. I'm going to show you how like later there's more of that in the story where, you know, there's like a lot that you can fall down rabbit holes to think that this was added after and this was meaning this, especially in like a lot of Jewish tradition and teachings. There's like extra that I don't think is really there if you're just kind of reading it with a surface glance. But I think it was just, this is their names because they weren't there. And we just want to point out the two guys that weren't there, their names were this.
According to Jewish tradition, Eldad and Medad were buried in the same cave in Edrei. I don't know where that is.
They died in the wilderness, so they would have died in a cave somewhere. But yes. Theologian Albert Barnes can be quoted as like, they prophesied at this time only and not afterwards. This sign was granted as an occasion for their appointment to accredit them for their office. It was not to be continued because their proper function was not that of prophesying, but for governing. Matthew Pohl also states something similar, another, theologian that's kind of famous. And then it was a sign that just an assurance of like their current role that they're going to take place for Moses. And just because they prophesied one time, the idea there, I want to make sure that we're clear on, doesn't mean that they're prophets. Like famously King Saul would prophesy at one point. And that doesn't mean he was a prophet like Samuel. He was a king and eventually a fallen king. Also, technically, God opens the mouth of a donkey later in this, and he prophesies and speaks. But doesn't mean that now all donkeys are prophets or that donkey was a prophet. It's just this can come at a specific time to anoint or to mark a specific occasion. So that's what we should look at when we're thinking about why the elders prophesied this one time, not again, why it's said that certain way, in my opinion.
According to some Jewish scholars, they say that Eldad and Medad were prophesying about, they predict that they were prophesying about or predicting a war with Gog and Magog, with the king from Magog uniting the non-Jews and launching a war in Israel against the Jews. But these non-Jews being defeated and slain by fire by the throne of God, basically also talking about like a Jewish Messiah. And then everybody was just like, we shall hear no more of this.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, like I said, and I don't know, it doesn't say specifically what they prophesied. It just said they prophesied, and then they heard, a young man specifically heard that and ran to Moses, and Joshua is the one that stood up and said, don't do this. But with Moses's idea or his like belief is like, I wish, again, if we go back to the moment at the mountain when God gathered them, consecrated them, and spoke to them and began to give them the law and the 10 Commandments, God wanted to speak to them so that they may be a nation of priests, that God's spirit would be upon all of them. Their role as a nation consecrated for God was to be the priests and prophet for the rest of the world. And that's like Moses, like, man, I wish that they would be so in tune with God's spirit and his will that they would prophesy and know. And then later on in Acts chapter 2, at the dawning of the new church, of the new covenant, we see that this is actually going to happen, that God's spirit comes upon all the disciples and all those that were in the room at the day of Pentecost and marks that day with prophesying and the Holy Spirit's work that will then not only be upon them, but it'll be inside of them. So it's a good little, foreshadowing of like how God, just like with the arrangement of the camps kind of looking like a cross, just like all the rest of the story of the Exodus and the Israelites up to this point, you can see the fingers and the weaving of the story kind of alluding towards this greater purpose, this greater plan, this greater meaning, if you will.
All right, let's get to the quails, guys. I mean, we've been talking about this for like an hour.
Yeah, I didn't expect to talk about
quails. Come on.
So Josh, if you would put up a picture of a quail so we could see what they look like, because I don't know what a quail is, to be completely honest with you. But
really? You never had quail before?
I've never had quail. I know quail eggs is a thing, but I never.
I have a story with quail eggs.
This is the time to tell us a story about quail eggs.
Oh, they're very tiny. They look literally like those Easter eggs.
The colorful ones?
Yeah, little tiny chocolate.
Oh, you mean the robin eggs?
Oh, those are robin eggs.
Yeah, the ones that
quail eggs are circular. Never mind.
I'm a big fan of those.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I've eaten quail. I think I have eaten quail. It's just like weird looking chicken.
It's a great story.
Read
chapter 11 verses 31 to 35. Please.
I've eaten so many fine things. I don't really
very many fine foods. They are.
That's what they look like. Yeah.
Oh, why are they so spotted?
Yeah. They're tiny, but they're filled with so much protein and essential vitamins. They're fantastic for you.
I know they're a thing, especially in like famous or fancy restaurants.
Yeah,
Michelin star restaurants.
Where I attend a lot.
Oh yeah, we're contemplating getting some quail.
Is this sophisticated, Nathan?
Just me.
You really know we have 28 episodes of you not wearing a suit, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Because we're gonna have 300 with me with one on.
Nice. Read 31 to 35 verses.
At the 300th episode, we might be at the end of this chapter, by the way. All right, what verses am I reading?
31 to 35.
All right, that's a lot, dude.
Okay.
All right, now a wind went out from the Lord, and it brought quail from the sea and left them fluttering near the camp, about a day's journey on this side and about a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp and about 2 cubits above the surface of the ground. And the people stayed up all day, all night, and all the next day and gathered the quail. He who gathered least gathered 10 homers.
How much?
And they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord aroused against the people, and the Lord struck the people with a very great plague.
While the meat was still between their teeth. So remember when you asked earlier, Josh, if what it was, they just eat it for a month or what happened? Like they didn't even get to the moment they caught it. And they're like, oh, yeah, we finally have meat. And the ones that were like greedy and had this craving and they're ready to eat it, like the moment they start to put it in their mouth,
they get COVID.
They get a great plague. It doesn't even say a plague. You don't have to read the rest of it.
So it was like bird flu?
Could have been bird flu. Could have been COVID. Could have been pre-COVID. So we had COVID-19. This could have been COVID-1.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that one hit so good.
Bird flu? Well, obviously it's the bird flu. It's the avian flu.
Hey, Josh, I give you props for that one. That was a really good one, but I didn't expect
I'm sorry.
that at all.
He called the name of that place Kilbroth Hatava because they buried the people who had yielded to craving.
Oh, dude.
Because Kilbroth Hatava means to yield to craving.
Don't yield to your cravings. All you guys who are on diets and have been trying to watch your weight, if you're craving something, know that God has struck people with great plagues for those cravings.
Or how about this? If God is providing manna from heaven, don't be like, yo, let me get some meat too. I mean,
All right. So officially from this point, we move on to chapter 12. The people move from Kibroth Hatava into Havaroth. And the journey just gets better and better. Just read the first 2 verses of chapter 12.
Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses. Why wouldn't they? Because of the Ethiopian woman who had married.
That's why.
For he had married an Ethiopian woman. Let's read that the way they describe that again. They spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman who he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman.
Beautiful.
I love the way, it
The Bible's
repeats itself for no reason.
I've never seen someone so annoyed about reading the Bible.
It's just like, it's like the sake of like reading like words just to read words.
What? Moses?
Why did Moses marry an Ethiopian woman?
Because his wife
Zipporah
is Ethiopian.
Yeah, I remember you were like they're part of that weird thing that they weren't a part of, or they like the.
So the Midian comes from the line of Abraham and his second wife Keturah, who was known to be an Ethiopian, or she was like, I think, dark skinned, right? So I guess this is a ethnic attack.
They went, you married a black woman. How dare you? That's essentially what happened.
Unfortunately, it sounds like that. Some people, the first wife of Moses, very interesting you put that up there, because some people think that this was in opposition to Moses' second wife, that at this point he had taken a second wife from a Cushite woman, and they were speaking ill about that, which wouldn't have been against like the norm of the time, if you will. But Miriam and Aaron are paired together here, but the Hebrew verb is in the more feminine form. So this kind of like the way it reads in Hebrew indicated that Miriam was like more of the instigator in challenging Moses' leadership here, which could be an indicator as to why she suffered the severe consequences later.
She was the one that has seen Moses since he was a baby, So
yeah, she followed the basket to make sure it was cool. So she's the one that brought up for him to be taken care of. She feels
kind of like she's playing this big sister role. Feels slightly responsible for him, and I don't know why she waited till now to say anything about Zipporah.
Well, because think about it like this, because they weren't together. Remember, Jethro brought their family. They didn't get there till they were at the mountain. They were at the mountain, not really doing much. And some people believe that she had this problem because you're right. She had this quote unquote authority, like a female authoritative figure. And she might've felt like threatened, as if someone was coming in to like take that position.
We are focusing on the most like small detail of this whole story that we're about to read. Like, come on, can we get with the story of this?
Yeah.
Like, because there's so much craziness is about to happen.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on.
Anyway, yeah.
Rare. She's black. There you go.
That's not what it was.
Well, that's really what it was.
Most likely was.
Pretend like it wasn't.
And now this video's taken down.
No, it's not. I'm just saying.
She was black. So then was Moses not black?
He was from the tribe of Levi.
No, he was like, Israelite. But I mean, Moses was like, he fell in love with who he,
Some people
he didn't marry a
complete notion that all.
I'm going to go ahead and lean more and we're going to change the subject now, but I'm going to lean more towards the idea that it was like a threat to her position as like.
Miriam wanted to be the one in charge.
She wanted to be like the one in charge of like the women.
And Zipporah probably
kind of came in and had been taken over the role as his wife. People would have started treating her differently for sure. Anyway. But the Lord heard.
All right. So they said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken through us also?
Because they just prophesied.
And the Lord heard it. So basically they were like, oh, God doesn't only speak to Moses, speaks to us too.
That's the thing. You're skipping over that verse. That's like the most, and the Lord heard it. Like
it's not there yet. Calm down. I didn't read it yet. I didn't skip over it.
You just read it. I said
that. I just read verse 2. Mm-hmm. That's all I read.
Yeah, and the Lord heard it.
I didn't finish though. And the Lord heard it. Did I finish what I'm saying?
Yeah. The Lord heard it.
Okay. And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth.
I love this little tidbit here.
He's so humble. Humble.
More than anyone on earth. He was the most humble.
There was like 15 people on
Moses wrote that, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, Moses did write this story.
Or Joshua.
And that's in parentheses.
All right, the next part is when it gets kind of tasty.
Okay.
Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come out, you three, to the tabernacle of meeting.
No. Say it with a better voice. Say it with God's voice.
All right. Come out, you three, to the tabernacle of meeting.
Can you imagine getting called out like to the principal's office?
So the three came out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both went forward, and he said, "Hear now my words. If there was a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak to him in a dream." Stop, Andrew.
Well, you're reading the whole chapter. You weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
But.
Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly, and not in dark sayings. And he sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?
Yeah.
Why I love this is that you see later on with Jesus always speaking in riddles, right? And this is also
parables.
Parables.
He's not the Riddler. Riddle me this, Batman.
What is Caesar belongeth to Caesar.
All right.
What is the Lord's belongeth to the Lord.
I'm pretty sure
and basically in
like
very
that.
very confusing sayings where everybody's left at like, what did he just say? And we see this happening. We see this happening in this situation, how God kind of just he purposely chooses to speak this way with the rest of the people. He speaks. I wouldn't say in parables, but in
this way. What do you mean this way?
In not a very clear fashion. Like it's not.
He was making a point. Yeah,
direct.
He was just making.
He was
a point.
speaking in dream. He would talk to them in dreams and visions. And how many times have you woke up and you're like, I know this is a dream from God, but for some reason I was being chased by a dog and my teeth were falling out, and I don't know what that means.
What?
I'm not saying that.
I mean, how many times has this happened to you?
That doesn't happen to me.
What are you talking about?
You wake up, the dream from the Lord. No,
I'm not saying that's an. But I'm just putting it as an example that you can have some wild dreams, know that they're from God, but you have no idea what it means. I mean, look at even later on, or even before with Joseph, Pharaoh had a dream from God, and he had no idea what it meant, and then it took an interpreter from God to interpret the dream. What I'm saying is, with Moses, that's something that it's really cool to see. With Moses, he's literally speaking to him very clearly, as if I'm talking to you now. There's no.
You guys are missing the cool thing about this is the fact that God is straight up coming in and defending Moses to people that are talking behind his back, his own brother and sister. How awesome is it that they had that relationship where God didn't say Moses overheard, it said, and the Lord heard them. That's why I said this.
You really want to make that point. God hears everything. He heard all their grumblings too.
But it's like
he did the whole God voice.
This is one of my favorite. These few verses here, verse 6 through.
You have a lot of favorite verses.
But it's like God coming out saying like, I make myself known in visions and in dreams, but not with my servant Moses. I speak face to face. Like this is like kind of like a tell off. Like imagine God telling you off. And then Miriam just explodes into leprosy.
Yeah, that's the rest of it. Like I'm not going to read the whole thing. What happened? Just what happens after God says that to them. God got angry and left. And as soon as he left, the Miriam just poof, like becomes a leper.
White. It says
white as snow.
That's nuts. Like her.
And Aaron started freaking out.
He's like, I'm next.
Please, like begging Moses for mercy. And Moses had to intercede again.
Yeah, but that's Moses' immediate Moses' immediate reaction there is to jump in front of them and intercede for God to like heal her immediately. Like he didn't even hesitate. That's amazing. And it kind of does show that Moses probably was humble and meek in that way, but even God's like, nah, it's not good enough. Like, I'm not just going to heal her like that. Like, isn't it? And he makes kind of a funny statement here, but he's like, isn't even like a daughter disgraced if she, sorry.
If her father had but spit in her face.
It's just, I don't know why. Josh, this is great that you're doing this now, by the way.
If a father had but spit in her face, would she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out the camp 7 days, and afterwards she may be received again.
So she is likewise, like it says, she's kicked out of the camp, which if you're unclean, you remember from Leviticus, you have to stay outside the camp 7 days. And once the time passed, she was brought in, and this would have been a very public shaming. This would have been something like, you got to remember that there's millions of people that, like, you're the most talked about people, family, like, they all watch this happen to her. She's kicked out, and they have to wait for her to come in before they can continue on the journey. And it's a very humbling moment I believe, for Miriam.
It's extremely humbling because she was like one of the top dogs of the whole, of like over a million.
We forget people. This. We don't think about how they would have been like a celebrity. Technically,
they were.
It's a whole it's a whole shame as she's walking down
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Game of Thrones style.
I don't think anybody was.
I don't think we're not putting that whole imagery there.
I mean, she wasn't naked.
She wasn't naked walking through the crowd.
No. And then she has to stay outside of the camp, basically suffering. I mean,
yeah, it must have hurt.
She goes from stage 0 to like stage 10 leprosy. Just boom.
On it.
Sorry.
So it's I mean, wild. Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel bad for her.
We always I skip that detail too when I think about it. Leprosy probably was painful and smelled and it was terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, your skin's falling off of you.
White as that picture. I'm just like, nah. It's kind of funny.
Let's on to 13.
The people move from Hazeroth in chapter 13 to the wilderness of Paran, a very important area. Because from here,
Andrew, on to 13 quicker.
I'm
just playing with you.
We're actually making good time.
I know.
We're like rushed. It's because I really blew through those first 10 chapters. Like I skipped.
Let's continue though.
I was slowly falling asleep.
No, let's slow it down now.
Let's not pat ourselves on the back and say how good we're doing
for the first time we're ever on track.
Like let's just keep going. Keep the train moving.
So the people, as they march, as they go on, remember again, they're all in formation. They begin to march.
They're in formation of a cross.
Number 13 is the chapter.
Numbers 13.
Numbers 13 is the chapter, famous chapter, where they're finally on the outskirts of Canaan, the promised land, and they send out 12 spies. In the first 12 or 20 verses, Moses is commanded to take out to choose one leader, one scout from each of the tribes, and it's interesting because in the book of Deuteronomy, it says that Moses gives this recounting of the events of the Exodus in the 40 years in the desert. Here in Numbers, if you read it straight here, it says that the Lord said to Moses, do this, 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 and this, and send them out. And Moses gives very specific instructions as to what they should go and get and bring back as a sign where they should go. But in Deuteronomy, it's kind of made to be seen like the Israelites asked for this. They were kind of like hesitant, like they were supposed to just go and take. Moses was like, go. The Lord says, go and take the promise that you have. And they're like, can we kind of like send some guys to look at it first? You know what I mean? Which strategically would make sense, but it's like, it showed that lack of faith. Like, let's see what's up over there first, you know? And I'm now going to read the 12 men that were chosen. From the tribe of Reuben, there was Shammua.
Let me read.
Do you have the notes?
Yeah.
I have it a lot easier here. Read off mine.
Let me read off here.
Highlighted. It's just tribe and name, or name and tribe in parentheses. Which I give all these guys the notes too, but they never have them on them.
What? Oh. Why are you zooming in so? All right. The first one's name was Shammua, or Reuben.
No, that's the tribe of Reuben.
Oh, the tribe of Reuben. The second one was named Shaphat. Shaphat. You sent me a selfie.
Okay,
my phone weighs more.
I don't. What?
You send us your so fast.
Okay, all right. Next one.
The third one is Caleb from the tribe of Judah. The fourth one is Igal from Issachar, and Hosea/Joshua.
Hosea will later be called Joshua by Moses.
Ephraim.
Yeah.
Palti, tribe of Benjamin. Gadiel, Zebulun, Gadi, Manasseh, Amiel, Dan, Sethur, Asher, Nabi,
Naphtali, yeah.
And Gilead.
If you were gonna read it I would have read it. But anyway,
where'd my phone go?
Right underneath you, directly in the center. So yeah, the difference is like they kind of asked, and it's read that way where they like it's the lack of faith, the lack of desire to like step out and just claim. It's another representative of their idea, like the way that they're just their personality, their lack of like want to do anything, step into it, just the worst. They're my least favorite people.
The
But-
Israelites are?
Yeah.
Okay.
This specific generation, because you read how rough it is for them to just do the simple things. And honestly, we're not better, but it's really
not that. I mean, look, it's simple things. Go and kill and take. Like, it's not like they are kind of like, dude, we got to make sure we're not,
In other words,
Killed?
they have now become pillagers. So let's go.
Well, they are sent and they're told to bring back some grapes, which means that, and this is a fun fact, it probably was like grape season, which would have been like July or August, late summer, which was kind of like beautiful weather. These people that were chosen were also not like just the old elders. They would have been like spies. They weren't leaders. They were like probably chosen men that would have been kind of like strong and, sleek.
The best of the best, in other words.
Yeah. It would be
that
like,
was how spies are? Usually spies are plain and blend
it's
in.
not like
well, I mean,
the guy in
this
the black
context,
robe just sneaking his way into the camp.
they're infiltrating to take over.
The perfect spy
But it's
is
also
somebody
not
you
the
could
biggest
see
guy
and
in
not
the
remember.
No, I'm not
They're
saying
not
the
choosing
biggest
like
was the best.
bodybuilders. Like, hey, go over there and take a look.
Like,
You're
I'm
real
pretty. The enemy would be
sneaky
like, hey, well, "Are you a spy?"
No.
no, not me. I'm here looking
Not
at your
me.
grapes.
Dude, you're like swinging a sword everywhere.
So the spies are given specific instructions.
What
and
are you doing? Hey, you got any grapes?
What?
You know
I
that
can't see. I was so good on my computer. Anyway, the exploration report comes in the verses 21 through 33. The spies go out into the specific areas, go into into it. I'm not going to have Nathan read it because it's a lot, but
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount.
anyway, they come back with grapes and pomegranates and figs. Very famously, the vine of grapes, the one bushel that they brought, had to be held by a pole, and two men had to carry it because it was so big and luscious and delicious. And they brought back extra stuff they were supposed to do, and they were gone for 40 days. And there's that 40-day again, that idea of like them spying out. They went from the north to the south through the mountains and everything they saw. And verse 28. Nathan, if you could read that. They're like, oh, the land is indeed flowing with milk and honey, and it had this and it had that, and really rich. But verse 28.
Say to them, as I live, says the Lord, just as you have spoken in my hearing, so I will do to you.
I don't think that's the right verse.
Oh, I'm in chapter 13. I was in chapter.
I was very like, I had this one word. Nevertheless.
Yeah. I was in chapter 14 already.
Every time I try to make a moment.
Yeah. It ruins it. All right. Nevertheless,
There you go.
the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large.
Yep.
Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there.
Descendants of Anak. Sorry.
The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the
Amal-
Jebusites. Huh?
The Amalekites.
The Amalekites. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains. And the Canaanites dwell by the sea along the banks of the Jordan. Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up once and take possession, for we are able
Why are you
to
reading
overcome
like
it.
this? Stop reading like that.
It's like the Reverend from The Simpsons.
No, don't read like that.
All right.
Anyway, so they're just immediately just disheartened, and they bring back this report like, oh, it's great, but there's no way we can win this, guys. There's giants, there's Amalekites who we had to fight earlier, there's Jebusites, there's just
Descendants of Amak.
the
Is
descendants
that the giants?
Anak.
Anak?
Yeah, the
Those are the
giants.
giants?
Anak, the name Anak is derived, or Anakim is derived from Anak, who believed to be the progenitor of this race of giants. Anak himself is described as a giant, was said to have three sons, Sheshai, Haman, and Talmai. These three sons, along with their descendants, became known as the Anakim and associated themselves with the land of Canaan and the area. So that's why.
They're different from the Nephilim.
So we've kind of covered this question before, like why after the flood are there giants? Do you guys remember?
I don't.
Yeah, I remember our conversation.
Do you remember why though?
Because that's
Like why are there giants in the land of Canaan? Like this is the promised land. They said that they're like grasshoppers compared to them. That's literally what these people say. They're like,
bloodline. the bloodline.
Well, where was the bloodline take? Because it was Noah's bloodline and his sons and their 3 wives. Where was the bloodline of the
Ham or Shem?
Ham. Ham was the bad one.
Ham was the bad one. Yes. Ham went and he married a non-believer.
Before the flood?
I thought he was married to Noah.
No. It was whenever.
Yeah, why not?
Whenever he tried to take over the family by sleeping.
You're talking about when he uncovered his father's nakedness after the flood.
He uncovered
and how we talked about how possibly that was him taking.
That was him going for a power struggle, but
to take over the world.
Yeah, it could have been something that was tied with some spirit that kind of encouraged him to do this. You know.
Well, there was Genesis chapter 6. It's interesting that it says there was giants in the world in those days, in the land in those days, and after. Like it says that before the flood, that there was giants before and after. So it's like the Bible already told us. People skip over that because they're like, well, why are there giants after the flood if the flood was to kill all the giants and all that? But it's that spirit. If the son of God, if the sons of God lay with the daughters of men before, they did it afterwards too. Like it's kind of not that.
Why aren't there giants now?
If we go by the cubits and by the measurement in the book of Enoch, and some of the Nephilim were about what was it, about 100? I'm going to do feet instead of cubits. They were basically about 200 to 300 feet tall. This flood in some areas was probably not tall enough to have killed them. They were just like sitting in a puddle.
Well, I mean, even if they're 200-300 feet, it said that the waters covered the highest top of the mountain, the highest mountain.
Yeah,
so
well, all they had
mountains
to do
are higher than 200 feet.
Yeah, all they had to do was just get on top of the mountain. Okay.
Why aren't there giants now?
I don't know. What if there are giants now?
There is the NBA.
Well, it's not even. What if it's like a Godzilla thing where like they're all underground?
Nah,
like
they're all in the NBA.
Or they're all in the NBA.
You saw Wemby? Dude, he's like 6'7" or 7'5", moving the way he does. Looks crazy.
No, I get it.
He makes Shaq look short. Shaq is 7 feet tall.
I don't know.
But how tall was Goliath? Dude, like 12 feet, 15?
9 feet, 9 inches. But because you remember what cubic inches was, how it was measured, right?
Oh, wow. I'm just looking at this one chart. It's saying early Canaanite giant scale. See Amos 2 verse 9. They're like 36 feet tall.
Exactly.
So these guys were like 36 feet tall. That's crazy. Numbers 13:33. There we saw giants, the son of Anak. Between 24 and 36 feet tall is what they're saying. And then Goliath's scale was between 12 to 18 feet tall.
They were huge. They were the size of trees. You know what I mean? Like they were giant.
Maybe I shouldn't drink like a whole liter of water and a Monster before we record anymore.
Well,
me
and Josh just found out that these giants were like 36 feet tall.
Yeah, how big did he said 200 feet or something like that?
No, he said the ones in Noah.
The antediluvian world?
Yeah. The ones pre-flood were like 200
it all
feet
depends.
tall.
Yeah. Like I said, it all depends what a cubit is, because remember, a cubit is basically from your elbow to the tip of your fingers. So if these guys were regular people, basically to the elbow to the tip of your finger is about maybe 1.5 feet to some people, or smaller to some. But if we're going by if they were really big, so if the Canaanite people back then were also very big people, what if we have evolved in a way where we're all getting smaller? And if they were bigger,
if anything,
technically we've gotten taller, haven't we?
That's what they say. But then again, they found where Noah's Ark could have been. They
Mount Ararat in Turkey. Sorry.
Yeah. They found bones, and those bones were like giant, like the thumb was the size of basically your whole hand.
Yeah, I mean, Nephilim were different than the giants here, I feel like. They were kind of like, imagine the Nephilim and then the descendants of them were smaller and smaller, if you could. Because again, there's going to be more of them. That's kind of my belief, is that it was the whole... There's also that I don't know if you guys remember this, but I brought up this idea from like the Book of Jubilees. This idea of like how Canaan left when Noah separated the inheritance of the world to his 3 sons, and Ham and Canaan were supposed to inherit this certain part of the world, but Canaan saw this land that belonged to Japheth, kind of where the promised land is now, and he saw that it was good land and inherited it, and he was cursed. And then when he went into this area, this land, which was close to where the ark would have fallen, then there was pre-flood world like engravings and monoliths and things like that. He pretty much fell into kind of like the same witchcraft, if you will, or the rituals and things like that. Like they were kind of corrupted in that way. They were more this. They fell into what eventually led to the wickedness of allowing Nephilims into the world, where the evil one or the enemy found the root through that bloodline to repopulate the world with these corrupted beings, if you will. So it's like the way it happened before with the wickedness. There was still a remnant of that and a seed of that in the world after God's flood. So there was giants in the land of the Canaan.
Before the flood happened, and obviously Noah didn't, when God told him that to build the ark, at first Noah didn't know that God was going to flood the earth, right?
I think he told him. He said, build a boat. He didn't just go build a boat. And Noah was just like, all right.
But from my recollection, I think I remember that God also, like, he had a meeting in heaven, and he said that he was going, because of the wickedness of man, he was going to flood the earth and he was going to kill everybody. And then he found a righteous man, Noah. If you're an angel, and I mean, what if the angels told other angels and it ended up getting down to the Nephilim, which are connected with maybe some of the angels, and then the Nephilim they know the plan. They know that God's going to do this, so they prepare, and they prepare in a way where they all, like, maybe they make their own boat, maybe they do their own thing.
I mean, there's some beliefs out there that the Nephilim before the flood, some of them might have survived in that fashion. There is that belief. It seems like it's not.
The giant race definitely survived. So,
well, it did survive. Whether it was remade after the flood through the sons of Ham and Canaan, or whether it was remnants that survived before, or whether it was just, some people believe it was just tall people comparatively. If the average height was 5 foot, and then you run into a guy that's 6'6" to 7'2", you're going to be like, those are giants.
You're right. But here's the thing.
Like, even the Vikings compared to the English, when they would like invade, they were usually 6 to 8 inches on average taller than everybody they fought. So to them, they're just like these blonde haired. Yeah, they were giants, quote unquote, to the English. So imagine that on like maybe an exaggerated scale.
To go along with how you were saying how giants basically would have come into the world again. I mean, once again, if you look at a lot of the mythology out there and a lot of other cultural sects, where almost each one of them has the king's wife or some very important lady having a child with a god, whether it be Zeus, whether it be Odin, whether it be Ra, any one of these gods, we constantly see that it is a thing that is happening, and it's happening after these ideas are coming after the flood, after all of this. So
yeah, that's
this must have been a thing. Accepting,
okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying this must have been a thing. Accepting deities into your bed and allowing them to have a child with you for power.
This idea is that idea is rooted, and we've talked about that before. But either way, giants were found, the Amalekites, enemies, Canaanites, people that are going to be, it says that the land, the inhabitants devour people. Like not before they even talk about it, like it's so dangerous that like it just eats itself. Like we're going to be consumed. Like there's no way that we could survive this. And they raise such a discord among the people that now we enter into the final chapter of this evening, or this recording, chapter 14. They get so worked up and so scared in verses 1 through 4 that they're ready to kill Moses and Aaron. Like they're ready to stone them. Like they literally say, let us decide for ourselves a new leader and let us go back to Egypt. Like we're not, they use the excuse of like, they've brought us here to kill us and to kill our children and the little ones and we're the helpless ones. And Moses and Aaron literally throw themselves on their face. Joshua has a moment where he kind of stands up here and kind of pleads with them, like, trust in God. Don't lose yourselves here. In verses 5 through 10, he urges them to, like, just, God will deliver us if we kind of go on, if you don't lose faith. But they pick up stones to begin to stone them. And Moses and Aaron are on their face crying, like, not to God, but to them, like, don't do this. You don't realize what you're doing. How can you have such little faith in this moment? Yeah. And it's the response of God here is what's going to mark for the rest of history this generation of Israelites with a punishment that is kind of like going to categorize them from now on. They're going to be known as the generation in the wilderness of 40 years. God is going to sentence them to die. Everybody that is older than 20 years, like, is not going to, it says that their bodies will fall, their corpses will fall in the wilderness. Nathan, if you could read actually, I think it starts with verse 11 and 14. God shows, it says that the glory, as Moses and Aaron are on their face, as the people are rioting with stones, God's comes in and intercedes in this moment.
Well, I mean, that's not really where he says that last part you said, but I'll read 11.
I mean, just where God intercedes.
Well, Moses is interceding in verse 11.
Okay.
And I'll read that part. I mean, I don't mind. Then the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people reject me, and how long will they not believe me with all the signs which I have performed among them? I will strike them with pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they. So God initially was like, I'm just going to whatever.
Yeah, God steps in.
And Moses intercedes.
Yeah, I'm not talking about I mean, God intercedes in the fact of stopping the Israelites from stoning and killing Aaron and Moses. He steps in. It says the glory of God. He presents himself in the glory. I could see it kind of like a wave of his presence. Literally slaps everybody in the face. He shows up in a specific way.
What was that?
So really, the curse starts in 20. And keeps going through 26 with a death sentence.
Well, because God comes and he says, that's it. I'm going to wipe them out. I'm going to destroy these people who are now a riot. They're literally going to kill you and to go back to Egypt. And I'm just going to make a mightier people out of you. Again, this proposition is brought to Moses. Moses immediately goes back to God and says, no, he intercedes. And it's beautiful if you read like 18 and 19. You don't have to, but I'm saying on your own time, read how Moses relies on God's long suffering and abundant mercy to forgive the transgressions.
And God says he's pardoned them according to your word. But truly, as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Mm-hmm. Because all these men who have seen my glory and the signs which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have put me to the test now these 10 times.
10 times.
And have not heeded my voice, they certainly shall not see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of those who rejected me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him, has followed me fully. I'll bring into the land where he went, and his descendants shall inherit it.
Mm-hmm. So God comes in and he makes this proclamation that, and in verse 29, it says that the carcasses of all who complain against me shall fall, all of you who are numbered according to your entire number. So that kind of goes back to numbers.
From 20 years old and above.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny.
Except for Caleb.
19,
and Joshua.
like, boom, you made it.
And Joshua. Son of Nun.
Yeah.
Not no one. Nun is the name of his people.
Caleb, son of Jephunneh?
Yeah, Caleb, son of Jephunneh.
But this is the cool part here. He says, but your little ones whom you said would be victims, I will bring in, and they shall know the land which you have despised. He like throws it back at him. It's like, those ones you tried to use as an excuse that I'll kill them, they're the ones that's going to conquer this world.
They're not technically despised of the land. They're despised of like all the obstacles getting to the land, because they know the land is like amazing. They're just not happy with what's there stopping them, which are
they despise the effort. Yeah, the effort it would take to inherit the land. They expected it just to be handed to them, and they didn't have faith that the fact that God did everything up until now to like make a way for them and give them deliverance and victory. They're like, oh no. Like even Moses at one point has this idea of like, where God has to say, has my arm shortened? I can't provide meat for a complaining people. Like you're already like, how am I supposed to get meat? Like this ideology, this type of mentality that's infected the people is so deep. It's completely rotted out their core. And God said, I'm just not even going to use them. I'm not even going to humor them. I'm going to let them die. And this begins the 40 years from everybody 20 and on. In the next 40 years, they're going to die. Their carcasses will fall in the wilderness. I'll wait for a new generation to come up, and then we'll number them, and then we'll go in. Get it?
It's so much easier to start when you start a cult to just start a new. You know what I mean?
What did you just say?
I'm just saying
that connection is wild.
When you start a cult,
to indoctrinate the young.
You try to indoctrinate the young, and then you have a stronger, more loyal following.
When you're trying to train, I'd rather train a new salesperson the correct way than retrain one that has bad habits,
like insubordination.
Yeah. So
not saying the Israelites were a
part.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that they're a cult, but that's the best way sometimes, is just start fresh.
It wasn't a cult. I mean,
there was no cult here.
They really looked up to Moses but there wasn't. It wasn't that. God's there present.
So
it had some culty vibes. That's it.
After God kind of told them, "Hey, you guys are all gonna die now, and you're gonna be in the desert 40 years." Then they're like, "Oh, we'll invade, bud."
No, they get so upset that they had, like they said, they mourned greatly, and then they had this. They were in the midst of God talking to them that we kind of skipped over. God said, "Look, the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there in the valley. Turn around and go, so that you don't get beaten by them." So they were in the vicinity where they can look down off the hill they were at in the wilderness of Paran and see this amassing group of enemies, and after all this happens and God says this and declares that, they mourned all night, and they woke up in the morning kind of like with this misplaced zeal, and just were like, we will go now. No, we're not afraid. We'll go. We believe in God. And Moses literally has to have a moment where he's like, do not go.
That's that.
It was a dog.
I thought it was something else.
They have this moment of misplaced zeal where they're like, now I want to go back and maybe we'll make it right if we just go on before us. And Moses is like, you don't get it. God already spoke. Turn around. How long are you to not listen to what God says? And they're like, no, we'll go. But they make
they're in Haran?
The wilderness of Paran.
Oh, Paran.
P-A-R-A. Yeah.
Paran.
If it was Haran, I would have gone on a whole tangent of that would have been wild.
No. Verse 44 says, but they presumed to go up on the mountaintop. Nevertheless, neither the Ark of the Covenant, which is the presence of God, nor Moses departed from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who dwelt in that mountain came down and attacked them and drove them as back as Hormah. Not Haran. Hormah. So they literally destroyed them. Just absolutely demolished them. Which is kind of deserved, but
what are they thinking? First, they're complaining. They're terrified. They're like, no way we could defeat these guys. You know what, God? We could do it without you. Let's go.
They're like, we'll do this. Are you watching, God? We're listening now. And God's like, I'm back here. Like, I'm not going. Like, I'm not with you. And Moses is like, God is not with you. Don't go. They're like, we're going to go because we now have faith, I think. And they went out and just got murdered.
Exactly. I think we have faith.
It's just, this lack of understanding was just, God is like, there's literally no fixing you. If you didn't get it by now, it's just,
You know what
I'm gonna
this
have
is?
to wait this one out.
This is faith without understanding. You know what I mean? Like, you can have faith, but just faith alone sometimes will not get you far. You have to also understand what you're believing in. You know?
No, explain. I'm trying to understand. I don't get it.
Well, first off, this is this exact story where they believed they could do it, and they believed that God would still come in and protect them, but God told them, "Don't, this is not for you," and that He was not going to be there with them. But they still went and with blind faith and thought that they were going to win, and they didn't. Just because they had a lot of victories before, and they were going on this whole victory tangent and winning every single battle, they thought they got a little cocky.
They won one battle, and it was like barely with Moses holding his arms up, technically. Up until now, they've been kind of getting L after L. This whole story up until now has been them failing, complaining, getting burned alive, getting taken out with plagues. They've been complaining some more.
They've been taking out cities. No?
No, they have not. Not yet. That doesn't happen until Joshua.
And Joshua.
They've just been walking and that's what I'm saying.
They've just been walking.
I've been reading a lot of this whole and just continuing to read, so I'm getting stories mixed up now.
Yeah, no, they haven't gotten there yet, Babylon.
And that's kind of where we're going to end the episode today, is on this idea of just their massive failure, their judgment and their punishment of not being able to enter into the promised land. 40 years passing by. It was just, like I said, there was no victory here. They weren't winning a single battle. There was nothing to build their faith on. It was just loss after loss after loss. And then it culminated into this climactic battle of like, we'll do it. And then it just get destroyed by vampires? I don't know. There was a whole thing about the Amalekites.
We're not going to get into that now, huh? We'll do that next episode.
There's a lot of, so the Amalekites are going to be an enemy of Israel that are going to, you're going to get that even in the story of David and Samuel. They're not, this is not the last time we're going to see them. They win this time, but God has a very great hate for the Amalekites, to where He wants them eradicated and completely wiped away, every animal. And very famously, Saul will not kill
Abraham fought the Amalekites too, right?
No, because the Amalekites came from Esau. It's the descendant of Esau. Esau is Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and his concubine Timnah had a child named Amalek. And Amalek grew up in Esau's household. And there's this idea that I read that was kind of like a rabbit hole I fell down to, that I talked to Josh about, that he didn't even realize, that there's this, and you can look this up, this story that's actually taught in Jewish mythology.
Genesis 14:7. Genesis 14:7.
The reconnection between Jacob and Esau, the reunion, and there's this verse where it says that he fell upon his neck, like Esau fell upon his neck and kissed him and
sucked his blood.
Well, some people believe that they teach that instead of kissing, it was actually he went to bite, and there was a vow he made that he would kill Jacob with his teeth and devour him. Bro. Not devour, but like murder him. Like, even like he was so mad, he's like, I'm gonna bite him to death. I don't know. And that moment, Jacob's neck was turned to marble. It was like a miracle where he couldn't bite it. And Amalek would have grown up in the household, and he had this, especially after Jacob then abandons him. He says, "Oh, I'll meet you over there," and then never sees him again. And he has this moment where he just like, he grows up in this household of like, he makes like a blood oath covenant that like, no matter what, he's going to destroy the Israelites at any turn. And they're going to like, just, that's this long standing feud where everywhere, that's why you see him attacking on the outskirts. That's why you see him a constant thorn in Israel's side at any chance they get. Again, that's not written in the Bible specifically. It's just something I was reading and looking up to try to find more information on the Amalekites, because some people believe that the name Amalekite or Amalek means one who laps up blood or licks up blood. And which we talked about before. We talked about before when the first time we see the Amalekites. Mm-hmm. Was it there was a group of people that were chasing, that were like going after all the stragglers. Yeah, that's when they fought, and Moses sent Joshua out with some people to fight them.
Because it's a mixture.
Yeah, that was
of giants. Like, in other words, basically every single bedtime story, like horror thing that you could think of, like werewolves, vampires.
Yeah, some people believe that the Canaanites, the sons of Anak, and like there was all sorts of like just corruption and evil mixed in with the bloodline. Like there's.
So I've never heard that story about.
They come from like the secret caves, and they were cannibals, and there's a lot of mythos around the enemy that people built up because they have to figure out a way to see why did God want to genocide.
It ties in perfectly with, you know, who else is it is tied to possibly be a vampire as well in the Bible? Judas Iscariot.
I've never heard that one before.
You've never heard that one? So get this.
But maybe we should.
But we promise you guys, we're not going to get into the Amalekite whatever right now.
No, next to tie in a little bit with what you were saying is, Judas, when he went to go meet with Jesus, they went in the night, and Judas came up to Jesus and gave him a kiss. But apparently,
there's that kiss again.
Apparently, the plan was to basically bite him, but the glory of God came and stopped that. So
yeah.
So Judas.
It's funny.
First off, here's the other thing: Judas gets paid with what? Silver. What are vampires afraid of? Silver. Judas betrayed Jesus. Judas betrayed Jesus.
No, werewolves are silver. You're wrong.
Yeah. Vampires werewolves are silver.
Dude, no, not even a little bit.
Look it up. Josh, it is silver.
Josh, I'm stopping you.
Silver bullet.
That's the werewolves. 100%. The only things that vampires
silver.
Have is garlic. It's a cross. It's not a silver. It's not. Google
it. It's silver, dude. Look it up.
Blade shoots them with silver bullets.
It's not in traditional like vampire lore.
And then because Judas betrayed Jesus, and Jesus, and because of that,
we're crazy already.
Jesus died on the cross. Crazier? The cross is what also terrifies vampires.
Vampires.
And God curses Judas, and Judas basically he does it. He never. Some people believe that he never died. God curses Judas to basically.
Yes, silver does kill vampires. Blade, like I said.
It's not traditionally, but okay.
It's traditional. It says traditional.
All right.
So Andrew can never be incorrect.
I'm just saying, like traditionally, when you think of it, like silver bullets, werewolf, vampires, stake through the heart, cross.
I've always kind of known silver bullets was vampires too, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just
you never seen the Abraham,
okay.
The thing is, werewolves and vampires are like cousins.
The Abe Lincoln movie where he fights vampires.
Yeah, that one.
Also,
so what's the greater meaning of this episode, Andrew?
Well, you were talking about with Abraham. I mean, like I was saying, Abraham does fight the Amalekites in Genesis 14:7. Like as he's going to rescue Lot, he fights.
No, he fights the
Amorites. No, he fights the Amorites and the Amalekites.
He could attack the country of the Amalekites, also the Amorites who dwelt in Hazanon Tamar.
What verse?
Genesis 14, chapter 7. I mean, chapter 14, verse 7. You were wrong again.
And attacked all the country, but he didn't attack the Amalekites. He could be referring
back to Amalekites right after that.
The country of Amalekites, but it wasn't. But he fought the Amalekites.
Either way, the Amalekites were still.
The Amalekites didn't exist till after Esau. It could be Moses referring back to the country from where they're from, so that people that read it can understand where he was talking about, because it was an ancient time. He didn't fight the Amalekites because the Amalekites didn't exist until after Esau. And werewolves are the ones that get killed with silver bullets.
They are too, but there's so do vampires.
Oh I would argue that it's more widely known that it's it's associated only with werewolves.
First of all,
I don't know why
are an offshoot of vampires.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They're like cousins, bro.
They're a completely different thing.
They're not. They were. Look, dude. Like it says right here. Silver can weaken or even kill vampire. I mean, why is this an argument? I already looked it up. You're wrong. Just take the loss. Just take the loss. You're fine. You'll be okay if you're wrong.
Popularly believed.
Dude, he's bubbling up. He can't even take it.
It's just not something that, like, is if you associate it in popular culture, the more if you go into like the exact.
This is two versus one.
This is insane. In Blade, literally, the guy keeps making silver bullets for him to shoot all the vampires, and I can't think of a more popular depiction of vampires than the Marvel universe.
I'm talking about ancient vampires.
Who cares about it? They're not real.
Popular culture today.
Ancient, there's guys, Bram Stoker,
definitely real.
Okay, all right. Let's get into the greater meaning of this episode.
All right. I wanted to touch back on the Judas vampire thing, but we're not
doing that.
No,
I had such an easy time believing the whole.
It's already midnight. We can't do this. Let's finish this episode.
If Josh didn't have ducks, we could have recorded earlier. Yeah. All right. I gotta say a greater meaning after thinking about vampires.
That's on you.
All right, my bad. I had a greater meaning, and it was just like when I was doing the notes for this episode.
Jesus.
No.
It all points to Jesus.
No. The cross, it was the symbol of the cross when they assembled.
I know Andrew's going there.
No, I wasn't. I was going to, and that's why I had it highlighted in this way. Moses' intercession whenever that moment where he has been defending these people and defending them and watching them get punished and asking God to intercede. And I still am marked by that dialogue and that back and forth with God after the golden calf incident, where he's calling out for God to not only forgive them and not destroy them and not make himself a people, but to go out with them. And God is now coming with them and his presence is going before them, and they just keep failing and failing. And Moses's response to God and how he pleads to God in that moment where they were literally with stones in their hand ready to kill him. This is how Moses prayed to God on behalf of them in chapter 14, verse 18. I'm just going to read this, and this is my greater meaning. The Lord is long-suffering and abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, but he by no means clears the guilty, visiting iniquity of their fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation. Pardon the iniquity of this people, I pray, according to the greatness of your mercy, just as you have pardoned and forgiven your people from Egypt until now. So he brings up, he's relying on God's mercy. He's like the greatness of your mercy while establishing that God is just, because he doesn't just, I'm not saying make this go away. You are a just God, but you're also a merciful God and you're a long-suffering God. And by that, I believe God used Moses even further. Like this was like one of the most climactic moments I see in Moses' life, to where he's just more deeply and deeply knowing God. And that's why we'll see later why things happen in Moses' life, why he's held to such a higher standard, because God has taken him through such deep levels of lessons into the character and knowledge of who God is and his levels of his mercy and long suffering and justice. But God, it says he's merciful to 1,000th generation to those who obey his commandments. He is merciful, but he's also a God of justice. Anyway, that's my greater meaning. Josh?
So Nimrod. Well, we were talking about Esau, and Esau.
I'm waiting for Judas vampire to get back into the conversation.
Oh, we're gonna hear about that one.
Because I have the stand now.
I can't wait for Josh to connect the dots.
I'm not connecting any dots. I'm making more dots, basically. Because remember when we talked about Esau, and Esau went out and basically, he was the hunter of hunters, and he hunted Nimrod and he killed Nimrod. And now
technically, I read that too. It was his son, like Haman ben Esau or something like that, that like decapitated him. How did he kill him specifically? No, that was killing Esau.
No,
I'm sorry, never mind.
Esau, not Haman.
There's a thought where Esau. This didn't happen. This isn't correct because the timelines don't add up. But continue.
Well, rabbinic tradition. I'm gonna go off of why not? I'm gonna go off of the Jewish standpoint and go. Just
give us.
I like that idea. I like that idea that he killed Nimrod. My greater meaning. Okay. Going back to the 14th chapter, where in verse 4 they said, "Let us select a leader and return to Egypt," where the Israelites were in a freak out mode and decided to turn back. Which the comical thing is, they really weren't too far away from Egypt, because remember, this whole journey that they're on could have been done in a short period of time, but God chose to take them on this wild, like, connect the dot journey, like all over the place, to get to a place that could have been done in the span of what, a couple weeks.
Well, they were there. Yeah, they were already there.
Well, so
he didn't take them on a journey. He just waited for them to die.
Well, I know that he was waiting for them to die, but they decide to select the leader and let's go back. Let's leave this mess of a thing that we're in, because they didn't trust God. They didn't trust God's plan. They didn't know God's plan, because they were too busy looking at everything that was right in front of their face instead of looking up, and that's constantly how we are. We're all like, we're complaining, we're grumbling. We don't know why things happen. We don't know what happens. And we're complaining to God, like, God, I need help. I don't know why this is happening, but God's letting these things happen to what? To make you a greater person, to grow your character, to do things in your life to make you stronger. But we don't want to accept it. We want God to make us stronger magically without no pain, no gain. Basically, they don't want the pain. They only want the gain. But God's like, you must have pain because I've made pain. I don't know what that.
I got you.
Made pain,
I got you.
literally.
All right.
But yeah, that's my greater meaning.
There is some rabbinic tradition that believes that Esau killed Nimrod. I'm sorry, and stole his robe.
So what was your greater meaning? Just no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain.
That's not
What? You started at one place and what? All right.
So Esau, no pain, no gain.
I think I kind of see what Josh is saying. I think he has a fairly similar greater meaning as mine to this whole story, and it's actually the whole Israel. I'm not going to use. I'm just going to say myself in my life, right? So we pray, all of us as Christians, we pray for God to bless us, right? And we pray for God's blessing in our lives, and God puts us in positions to be blessed, right? And there's a deeper, you got to understand, our souls are saved because of the sacrifice Jesus Christ made. But that doesn't mean now that, and people misinterpret that verse what Jesus is saying, if, look how God clothes the field, wouldn't he clothe you much more so?
The lilies, yeah.
Yeah, the lilies of the field, wouldn't he clothe you? And it's like some people, they just take this approach like, God's got it. He'll open the door. Well, like what Josh was saying, look at the Israelites, and they're like, yeah, God took them to the promised land, but now they got to go to work. You still have to give your best efforts, even though God blessed you. You can't just say, God blessed me, and now I'm just going to sit back and let God take the wheel with everything, and I'm just not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. No, that's not the way it works. God puts you in a position to succeed. Now you have to give your part, because God cursed the land. And he said that man will be working the field, right? Or will be working, in other words. God will bless your work, but you still need to be the one working. And that's a very important lesson, because these Israelites, they get to the promised land and then they're too afraid to go battle these giants. What are the giants you're too afraid to battle in your own life, right? We look at obstacles that we have to overcome and we start complaining to God. Well, God, you said this is going to be a blessing. Why is it so hard? Yeah, that's a giant. You got to slay it. It's something you have to overcome, but you have to have faith that you have the ability to slay it. That's the thing. God blesses you, but then God gives you the strength to overcome whatever obstacles come in your path, whatever giants come in your path. But you have to have the faith to take that sword and slay the giant. And if you don't have the faith and you want to grumble and complain, what happened to those guys? They perished. And that's just a clear-cut example. We pray for blessings every day. God puts us in a position to be blessed. But if it gets too hard, we give in. And in our culture today, because we give in, oftentimes we'll just be like, Jesus, you do it for me. I'm not able to. And Jesus many times is like, yes, you are. I gave you the strength to do it. Get up and do it. And that's my greater meaning.
That's also going to be the theme of like the entire book of Joshua. Joshua chapter 1, verse 3. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given you, says the Lord. You got to tread. You got to move. You got to step.
Be strong and courageous.
Well, yeah, that's that too. That's
a popular one.
I was just kind of going along with Nathan exactly, because it's the same people here. They're refusing to step, and God is like, yeah, he'll bring you to the water, but he won't make you drink. You got to drink. I love it. Both of you guys kind of had that same, like, you have to go through it to grow. You have to go through the pain to get stronger. And they just were just not willing to be uncomfortable. Not willing to grow, not willing to really see.
Being uncomfortable to learn skills is actually biblical.
Yeah.
It's overcoming tremendous obstacles is a biblical principle. That is why the chosen people, the Jewish people, I mean, what's the common stereotypes? All Jews have all the money and stuff like that. Well, guess what, man? I'm just saying, like, they're very successful because they know this principle. It's like ingrained in them.
Yeah.
That obstacles is not a reason to stop. It's like you have to just, God's with you.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep pushing, right?
100%.
And God will open doors for you, but you still got to knock, and then you got to walk through them. Mm-hmm. And then you got to go in that room. There's another side to that door.
Unless God says don't fight the battle, so don't fight the battle. There's some battles that you should not fight.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying in the context of, there's some battles you let God take the wheel over, but God lets you know that he's taking the wheel of that.
Yeah.
But there's, for the most part, you got to be courageous.
And there you have it. That is the first 14 chapters of the book of Numbers. And I wish I could say it just gets more positive from here, but we still have to go through a little bit of the 40 years in the desert, which is a period of time in Israel's history that's going to be remarked and brought back to and studied and referred to throughout the rest of the Bible, and even very heavily through the New Testament by Paul and by...
That Numbers is basically a book of a lot of censuses that are made, because a lot of people keep dying, and there needs to constantly be a record of, hey, how many people are still alive? Like,
well, there's a census of everyone that's alive. There's a census of everyone that's alive before. So we had like 600 and 5,000. And now we're going to have another census at the end of it, of the census of the new generation.
By the time we get to episodes, we're going to be in the Judges, which is the reason I wanted to do this podcast.
We're getting there. We got a little bit more
to the Judges. I want to talk about Samson.
We talked about the Nazarite. That's why I made us kind of stop there a little bit to learn the Nazarite law.
I love the Judges. I love Samuel's my favorite. One of my favorites.
When we get to Joshua, Judges, the story is just going to go
with Samuel.
Have you seen the David show?
And Amalekite king,
just chopped them
Prime
up
There is a show. I haven't seen. I'm waiting for more episodes to come out. I've heard
the way
reviews.
They depict Samuel in there is spot on. I'm telling you, it is great.
Apparently, they really lean heavy into the whole Saul is demented and tormented by demons, because he is in the Bible.
Well,
he's just a very troubled man.
And it's one of those.
Well, it's going to be such a good part.
When you read over a verse and you're just like, that happened.
When you stop and think about it.
Yeah, when you stop and think about it.
What would it be like
crazy.
if you see this played out in front of you? You're just like, duh.
How are we doing Psalms?
Psalms is actually, and this is probably a sneak peek for you guys listening and watching, but what I'm going to do is, because some Psalms are written by Moses, some Psalms are written by even Solomon.
We're going to sing melodies we created to each
I will
psalm.
bring the harp.
I'm going to interweave different parts.
Wait until 119. It's going to be a doozy.
I'm going to interweave different Psalms into David's life. Like at this point, he would have written this Psalm, etc. And then the other Psalms. We didn't do that with Moses at all. Moses had already written a Psalm, technically. I was unprepared. I saw it, but I didn't go back and do it, and we'll cover it when we get there. But very happy you guys were here with us. I'm very excited for the next episode. If you like what you hear and you want to support us, please hit that subscribe button, follow us, like us, give us that 5-star review. Email us at greatermeaningpodcast@gmail.com. What was your greater meaning? What are some things we missed? What are some things that stuck out to you in this episode? We definitely want to hear from you, and we really appreciate all the support, all the love, all the messages. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Until next time.
Don't you have something to say, Nathan?
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't say it anymore.
The merch thing?
We have merch.
Do we?
No, we don't.
I have stickers.
But we
I have
will.
stickers.
No,
I have stickers.
You have
Nathan
tiny...
plugged a merch connect that fell through.
I still have the guy, but I mean, I don't believe he can do it. I think he was just saying stuff to say it.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
I mean, if you guys, I probably do have a merch guy I could actually use, but
This is when Josh plays the music to like cue us out.
oh, have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.